You know, there's a widely held and completely erroneous perception, perpetrated largely by the mainstream media, that automation, industrial automation, is a job killer. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Not with Jeff Bernstein, he's president of the Association for Advancing Automation. And Jeff, I understand that you recently authored a white paper that essentially demonstrated and disproved this widely held belief that automation is a job killer.
Well, Jim, we've been talking about this for a long time. We did a white paper 18 months ago on this topic. The studies keep coming out, the hysterical stories keep being printed in the media, but the reality that we see doesn't match robots being a job killer. If it were true, then when robot sales rise, you would expect unemployment to rise, right? We looked at a 20-year period, manufacturing jobs and also overall employment in the US. Every time robot sales rose, unemployment fell. In every period where robot sales fell, unemployment rose. So that was an indicator when we did that white paper 18 months ago. Something's not adding up when we read these studies. For this white paper, we focused on, okay, so we know that there are all kinds of robots being sold in the US right now. This is the greatest period of expansion of the robot industry since the robot was invented in the 1960s, okay? In the past 7 years, there were 137,000 robots sold and delivered in the United States. What happened to manufacturing jobs? The studies tell us as robot use accelerates, manufacturing jobs will decline. Well, guess what? Nearly 900,000 new manufacturing jobs were created during that period. That doesn't sound like a job killer. So we talked to some customers. We talked to General Motors. We said, hey, you're investing heavily in robots. What have you done over the past few years? Bought a lot of robots. Guess what? We also added 25,000 more people. We talked to Amazon. Amazon's a big user now of robots. You're automating your warehouses and distribution centers. 40,000 they say they put in. Guess what? We're hiring 100,000 more people. That doesn't sound like a job killer to me.
Labor shortages are the #1 continuous theme I hear round and round, and that seems to be also completely antithetical to the notion that you're replacing a job if you can't find a worker if you had it.
Yeah, that's a really great point. So you have labor shortages in some cases. You have people who don't want to do dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs in many cases. You have people retiring from the workforce that aren't being replenished. And then you've got a situation where maybe people come in, they try a job for a while, they don't like it. The companies now have to hire again, train again. That hurts productivity. So we have examples of companies who they invested in automation to solve that problem of the dull, dirty, dangerous jobs, lowered their costs, ended up winning new business that they never would have won because they were more productive and had better quality, more reliability. And as a result, since they've automated, they've hired more people. And what we're seeing is some of the jobs require skills that aren't really being taught. So there is a skills gap. And our white paper talks about that a lot, how we need to kind of break the mold of going from high school to college to looking for a job and accumulating all that debt. These jobs, a lot of them are hands-on. You can get out of high school and go get a certificate at a technical school or community college and become very valuable. Robot operator, maintenance of the technology, installer. There are a lot of great jobs available in addition to the 4-year jobs and the computer skills and coding that people need. But we're just creating a lot of really great jobs that are high paying and better jobs than the ones we had before.
In Europe, it's possible to do it a different way. In Europe, you can go and you can work on the shop floor, and then you can work in co-op programs, you can go to college, and you can almost seamlessly transition from a shop floor worker to perhaps a machinist, tool and die maker, to a mechanical engineer. Is that European model something we need to look at to try and bridge the skills gap?
Really great point. We talk about it in our white paper, that apprenticeships, which are very common in Europe, particularly Germany, they've declined in the United States over the past decade or so. We do need to look at that. And some companies are doing some innovative things there. They are putting in these work-study programs. They're training their people to the skills that they need. So we're encouraged by some of the recent trends, but yeah, we have to do more of that.
Do we fund trade schools adequately? I know that there's also talk about a funding gap at the base level. I grew up at an age when every high school had a shop class. And you probably first picked up a screwdriver there. And if you had an affinity for it and a love for it, it was often nurtured at that level. And I understand those things are disappearing now.
They are, and that's a problem. we're just not really in education focused on those skills. So we have to do it elsewhere. So filling the gap. So there's programs like Ramtech in Ohio. They're working with the user community in Marion, Ohio, and throughout the state of Ohio, working with industry. What do you need? What skills do the people coming up need? Training them. And also, we have to retrain our current workforce to take advantage of all these great jobs that are available.
Are there opportunities for firms to reach out, do some community outreach perhaps, and get locals in the community to come inside and take a look at what's going on, or reach out at the school level? Is there more we could do on the sort of public-private partnership level?
Absolutely. There are programs that are really fostering that. And you know what a great one is? This FIRST Robotics competition, or VEX Robotics. You see big companies helping out these kids because they understand we're going to need a skilled workforce in the future. We want to support this. If the schools aren't doing it, and some schools are, I don't want to bash all schools, but we want to help them. And we want to reach out and try and train this next generation of our workforce.
The future of automation isn't bright, it's brilliant, says Jeff Bernstein, the president of the Association for Advancing Automation.